All right, so gonna go ahead and begin here. So I guess for instructions, my name is Mike. I'm one of the new MP technical specialists with ATG here, and I'm going to be going over pretty much how to, standardize your family share parameters with the share parameter manager inside of CTC tools, and how it can make things a lot easier overall, especially when it comes to creating families and managing most of your share parameters. Just to begin here, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Do screen one. So I'm going to minimize this. So just begin. We've all been there. If you've been making families for a while, it takes a while. And especially when you have deadlines and a whole bunch of other stuff going on, having to make a brand new piece of equipment for your staff to use, whether it be, brand new light, VAV, you name it, especially once you get into the parameters of everything, it just takes some more time and makes that deadline come a lot quicker. And just as an example of one file, right here, we just have a typical air handler right from our MEP productivity pack. And if I go over here to family types, you'll see that, just going through really quick, there's a ton of parameters. And in the normal way to use Revit, let me not grab the little zoom bar, you would have to go ahead and go to new. You'd have to set up either a family parameter or go to your shared parameter, go through the whole spiel of finding your shared parameter file and bringing in each individual parameter one by one. And if you're, primarily making families for your company, that's great. If you have other duties on top of that, this can be a drag, and it could really waste a bit of time when you could save that and actually get to do other stuff instead. And pretty much CTC tools developed something called the shared parameter manager, which is, well, I have CTC tools installed. You could find it right here. And basically this tool allows you to set up your parameters a lot quicker and save them to use on later families. So pretty much most companies have a variation of this, but when it comes to share parameter, you would have either a master file, or if you're discipline specific and you have maybe one or two disciplines in your company, maybe three, you would have something like this. So plumbing share parameter, mechanical, electrical, any of the combination. Some might even break down even further, have telecommunications, fire protection, security, whole plethora of them, or just have a master like it is, like you see up here. Now, what's really nice about T share parameter manager, and something I actually found out at a previous firm, was you can actually save a lot of configurations for parameters for specific families. And it's actually cached per the shared parameter file. And if you look back in here, so for example, I opened it up today, just to show as an example, the discipline specific share parameter files. And you see here, these are the caches for them. Oh, I actually opened up the master as well. So there you go. And all you have to do, so let's say you start a family from scratch. And actually, I'm going to do that as well. So I'm going to go to File, going to go to New, and I'm just going to make actually, let's do a fun example. Let's do a lighting fixture. So I'm going to do a basic one. So here we have just a basic lighting fixture. We have the lighting source. I'm just going to make it a dome, keep it simple. So I'm going to do that. Going to just mark this really quick. I'm going to make this the, if I could spell radius, I'm going to do a radius, going to leave it as type. I'm going to leave it as dimension, nice and simple. And we're going to do that. And then we're going to go back into here. And I'm just going to say it's radius of 6 inches and call it a day. So there we have our light, and now it's set. Let's say you go through the whole, hubbub of adding all your reference planes, and then you get ready to actually add the next set of parameters from your company shared parameter file. all you would have to do is go up to the CTC software up here. If you have CTC installed, navigate to the Share Parameter Manager, and then this window will come up again. And in here, you have two tabs, very simple. You have the Manage Share Parameter File, which allows you to actually manage share parameter files without having to go through and open it up the old school way and add them as we're used to. This makes it a lot easier. You could add, you could remove, makes it very easy to modify share parameter files on the go. But for our example case, we're going to be loading loading parameters into the family. So in here you see is blank, and you have some of the normal stuff you see whenever you start creating parameters. This is actually in Revit. But up here, you would have your share parameter file name. It's blank because I haven't loaded one yet. So just in case it takes me somewhere else, I'm going to copy this, and I'm just going to browse. Oh, took me right there. So I'm going to use the master as an example because I already built some stuff in there. So I'm going to open up the master share parameter file. It'll take a second to load, and then it'll finally be up. So once it's up, as you see, we have several parameters already pre-built into the share parameter file that are listed in here. Some share parameter files will have less, some will have more, just depends on what you need for your use. And as you see, we have a bunch in here all the way down from visibility. You could group them in two separate options in this specific menu, either by group or parameter type. If you go by parameter type, as we saw, it just changed to a whole different set of groupings. But if you go back to group, now in here is the selection set, and this is going to be the main focus of this webinar. So in here, this is probably the most powerful thing I've used inside of the Share Parameter Manager. In here, you can actually create selection sets for specific families, or if you have families split up by, for example, master spec, you can actually break them down that way. But you can make a brand new selection set, and you can actually assign individual parameters from your shared parameter file into here. And then let's say you create a family, you make the selection set, you go in and save the family, and a month or two down the line, you got to make a whole new family that's similar but different, but it'll have the same exact parameters. You could actually come in, remake the family from scratch if you have to, and then just bring all these parameters in, and they're already pre-selected, and it's just a click of a button then that you have to do. We'll just go through a few examples. So for the selection sets, it's very easy. You just do new, and you give it a name. I've already pre-made a few, so I'm just going to skip over this step for now. But yeah, just going through here, since it's the master share parameter file, I've already pre-made several. So I just use a basic descriptor for each discipline. So I have E for electrical, so typical electrical stuff, K for kitchen, some lighting, mechanical, plumbing, security, telecommunication, and they're all very rudimentary for the most part in naming. Some firms that I've seen that use this tool actually add in the master spec number and they break it all the way down to where they have to, or to where they need it. Some just leave a master spec, some just do this. Either way, there's no wrong way to do this. But if I were to go to here, I'm going to go to my air compressor for the air compressor families. And I saw several of these parameters are actually from in here. And if you wanted to add more, let's say this is going to be air compressor. So I'm going to go to my mechanical parameters, and I'm just going to go straight mechanical. Now, once I open that up, we have a much more extensive list of share parameters than probably most companies. Some actually have it greater than this, but as I go through, as we see, there's a bunch of parameters, and I could probably scroll through exactly what I need, but I'm just going to add a for the duct connection. This is like a, for example, like in a actually no, it's air compressor. I'm sorry. Trying to remember all my air compressor parts here, but I'm just going to keep it a lot more simple. I'm going to do straight general. Let's say I'm actually wanting to do. I already have labor rate in there. Let's do sales tax, for example. If for some reason you have a spreadsheet that actually you want to calculate the sales tax and how much each individual part will cost, and your company does that by default to do cost estimating, for example, you can actually bring in the sales tax for a specific piece. If you manufacture it, you could expand it more, just depends. But all you have to do is click it. And as we just saw, also was already in there and I missed it. I was going to or total cost, for example. So there we saw it moved over. If you need to remove them, so let's say I want to remove the sales tax and total cost, you just hit this arrow to remove and they go right back. And for some reason, you would like to change one of these parameters to be, for example, type or instance, you could do that on the fly right here. And as you do this, you don't have to click save or anything. Once you actually modify each share parameter, or let's say, you want to change the name, once you actually do that, it saves automatically. You don't have to worry that if you close out, you lose all your work. I know that's usually a fear, but for this, it's all automatic and you're pretty much good to go after you change it. And for example, just to test it out, I'm just going to rename this. And I'm going to call it, let's say, I'm just going to do HVAC at the end, just to rename it. So there we have it. We changed the name. I'm going to exit out. I'm going to go back into it. The same file? No, it removes the file. I wanted to say that the same file gets saved there and you could just bring it back up. But for some tools, that's the case. For some, it's not. But if we go all the way back down, there we go. Air compressor HVAC saved. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the name. And there we have it. But to go back to the original test case here, so we're going to be doing lighting specifically. So I'm going to go into here. I'm going to go to my electrical. And just so I clear up something, I just pretty much copied the master and just split it down. So they're all the same file pretty much, but they were done before everything was modified and there was any cache for all the saved selection sets. But yeah, so right here, we already have loaded the electrical share parameters file and it's blank, nothing there. So now we need to add stuff. So since we're making a light, for example, I'm going to go here. I'm going to make it based on division, just keep it simple. So go in here, this would be division 26, lighting is 500. And let's say, trying to see here, I'm just gonna do something simple. Let's say, trying to see here, what would I even make this? Actually, I'll just make it very simple. I'm gonna do, this is division 26, I'm gonna make it 5100 for interior lighting. And actually, I don't want to go that in depth with actual manufacturer names and everything. We're just gonna do interior lighting and call it a day. And here we have absolutely nothing. If you, for some reason, for a specific family or use case, you want to change the name, again, you can do it on the fly. If you actually have a certain base for what parameters you want in a specific selection set, it's very simple. You can actually set up like a base, selection set for what you need. So let's say you have fluorescent or a type of light they use, but you have fluorescent and LED, for example, and this could carry over to any other type of example pretty much. But there's a few parameters that are different in each, like obviously for us, when you have a fluorescent parameter LED, if you have LED, you can actually just set it up without those and just copy it down however many times you need it. So let's say we are going to go ahead and just do copy. So here it'll ask you for a new name. So we're going to make this LED. And then there we have a copy. I'm gonna go back to this one. And so I don't misspell fluorescent, FLU, fluorescent. I believe I spelled that right, cool. And now if we go back and check, there we go. So we got two of them. But to go back to the example, let's say I mess up, I don't wanna have that. I can delete it. It'll ask you, are you sure that you wanna delete this? And just hit yes, and now we just have fluorescent. So let's go in here and I'm going to scroll down to, oh, there it is, electrical lighting. So since this will probably be recessed in a ceiling, I'm just going to do, let's see, what do I want to add? So let's do direct lumen, emergency component, just in case it has that. Cooling manufacturer if you need to. We're just going to do in direct lumen just because. And let's do, Let's see. No, we don't care about spacing. Lumens per lamp. Only has one lamp technically. Well, let's do that just in case. And let's go ahead and go to general. We're gonna do, let's see, labor cost, labor hours, labor rate. Let's do sales tax just in case. We're not gonna run anything else. The rest just do cost estimating inside of Revit. It'll be useful for that, but we're not gonna worry about that just now. And let's see, we're gonna do visibility. Oh, there's a bunch here. Let me see, what do I want to do here? Let's see, drain. Is there any light? Well, this will be just a straight down light, so we're not really worried about much of that. Oh, we're just gonna keep it simple with this. This will be our baseline. So, like I said, if you'd have several, sets of this that you want to do, just go back down to copy. I'm just gonna erase this, and we're gonna do LED. And in this one, I'm gonna back up the lighting. Let me see if I could add something else to this. Nope, that was loads. There we go. So there's nothing that I'm seeing that says LED specifically. I'm just gonna leave it. Maybe it's under here. No. Well, it takes a long search through every parameter, but we'll kind of get it. So I'm just gonna remove it for this one. All of this jazz at the bottom. And if you go back up to fluorescent, everything is still there. So once everything you have set for the specific family, we're gonna leave this as fluorescent, even though it's probably not. We're gonna go ahead and once everything is set, so I'm gonna do, just for example's sake, sales tax is gonna be by type, just in case. We don't know what state we're working in, so just gonna leave it at that. And we're gonna do load parameters. So it's gonna ask you, do you wanna load all parameters in 26-5100? And all you gotta do is just say yes. It's gonna take a second. It's gonna go ahead and process everything. It's gonna load everything as you would in Revit, since it's all based on the API. And over here, this little menu will show you that, hey, this is what we've put in, this is what happened. If there's an error for some reason with the parameter, let's say you've already loaded one just for testing from the existing share parameter file that you have, it'll tell you, hey, this is an error, and it'll tell you exactly what the error is, or you can expand it to show the error. Let me just check chat here real quick. And pretty much from here, probably should open chat a little bit earlier. But once it's loaded, you can go ahead and close out of this. And once we go back to create and family types, we'll see that all the parameters that we wanted have loaded under other. Now, most of these will almost always load under the exact area that it should be grouped in for the most part. You can also change that if you want to, if you don't want it to be exactly. So let's say we want all of these parameters for loads, calcs, whatever you need analytics to be in an analytics section. You can move that directly. And as I say that, I should probably show you guys how to do that. So back to CTC, back to there. So we're gonna go ahead and reload our electrical file. And there we go. Everything is still there. And in here that we see, this is based on the discipline. So this would be common, electrical, common, and common again. And they're all grouped under other. So let's say we're gonna move all these. Let's do lighting, just for example's sake. And I believe if I remember this right, when you do load, it's gonna do that. And it's gonna load them all again. And if I remember correctly, there we go. So now it's gonna error out, which is exactly what I wanted. And if I remember correctly, you can copy this to clipboard. Put in like a spreadsheet if you have a lot of errors, or if you need someone else to check it out for you. But it'll tell you error loading. This parameter with this name is already exists in the family, which is great to see. So it's already there. I'm just going to simply go on back, and I'm just going to delete the parameters there. Wait, nope, wrong one. So I'm going to remove this one, yep, and this one, and this one, and the final one, and lumens per lamp. So This should be good. I'm gonna go and do apply OK. And going back into here. And there we go. We're gonna do load. We're gonna load our file again. We should have exactly what we had once we left off. And since these will error out down here, we're not really too worried. Won't do much. They won't actually try to force it to load since it's already there, which is a good safeguard. And we're gonna do load parameters. It'll go ahead and load. It'll process everything through. And there we go. So here we have the errors for what's already in the family as it is, and it's already reloaded everything that was deleted. So we're just gonna get OK, gonna go ahead and X out, and we're gonna check it, and there we have it. Now it's moved. Now, of course, if you're using this tool and you're creating your families and going through things, what you can actually do is later on, if you decide that this is a change you want to make, and let's say you want to split things up differently on a different category, just do things differently, you can do that easily. The only caveat is you would have to go through and delete the parameters in each family and then reload them in for each one and pretty much just go from there. And then your family will have all the parameters. You could load it into the project and you could see it there. And actually, just to test it, I'm going to load it in my project here. And I'm not going to worry about saving. And over here is asking me to place it. So I'm going to go to a lighting view before I do that. And it's gone. So going down here, I believe I didn't name it. So it should just be something, yeah, family one, makes sense. So going down here into families, we're gonna go to, I believe it'd be under generic because I didn't actually, no, it's not. I wonder what I classified it as. So yep, okay, lighting fixture because I used the lighting fixture template, makes sense. So lighting fixture, we should see, there we go, family one. Now, if we go ahead and place it somewhere, I'm just going to do it somewhere simple just so we can see in the project. There we go. We're going to click it. And in here, we see all the parameters. Oh, wait, no. Yeah, there we go. So we'll actually be able to see all the parameters that we already had in there for the most part. And yeah, we should be pretty much good to go with this family after it's in. So that's pretty much it for the spiel. Figure I'd open up to questions if anyone has any. Like I said before, though, thank you for attending. Really appreciate it. This is actually my first webinar, so cool to actually have some attendees. And yeah, like I said, if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, let me know. I'm free whenever to chat. And yeah, thank you for attending and have a great rest of your day.